Well, 8th grade algebra students, here are your 2.10 guided notes, part 1 for today. Make sure you're writing your name at the top of your paper, that way you receive credit for your work. We're working on finding the percent change today. I put this up at the top just to remind you guys that we can find our percent change by finding the amount of increase or the amount of decrease, whichever one it may be, and then divide it by the original amount. And that'll give us a percentage that we can use in our problems. So if we look at this one, I'm going to find the percent change from 8 to 10. I know that from 8 to 10, 8 going to 10 is going down, or is going up, so it's going to be an increase right off the bat.
Sorry again for the interruption. Just wanted to let you know that they are done testing the fire alarm. So if you hear a fire alarm now, it is the real thing. They are done testing the fire alarm. Thank you.
Well, now that we know that the fire alarms are working, we'll keep on going with our notes. Here we go. So if I find my percent change, first I have to find what is the change happening from 8 to 10. I'm always going to do my larger number, take away my smaller. That means it's a change of 2. So that is the amount of increase is 2. I'll put that on top of my fraction, or my division. Then my original amount. What was my original amount? My original amount was the 8. I start at 8 because it says from 8. So I'm going to do 2 divided by 8. When I go ahead and do 2 divided by 8, if I use my calculator here, 2 divided by 8, I get decimal 0.25 or 25 hundredths, okay? Remember that this is the same as 25 over 100, which is equal to the same thing as 25%. When we have questions like this, I want to make sure that I label it that it's a 25% increase, not a decrease. So we're going to write that down here, just stating that's a 25% increase. There we go. If we go down to our second example, this one is a decrease because it's going from 115 down to 92. You can always write it out like this too. That can kind of help you kind of materialize or show what it's happening there. And then the problem can kind of materialize in front of your face. So if I do 115 minus 92 to find my change, my amount of increase or decrease, I do 115 minus 92, and I end up with 23. That's the amount of change. The amount of change, 23, over my original amount of 115 is going to give me my percent change. So I do 23 divided by 115. And I get 0.02 or 2/10, which this is the same as 2 over 100, or 20 over 100, which is the same as 20%. And again, down here at the bottom, I want to make sure that I'm writing it as an increase or a decrease. So this one is decreasing. If I flip my page, I go to example number 2. I'm going to find the percent of increase or decrease for this problem. So I want to find the result when 80 is increased by 15%. Now I don't know what 15% of 80 is, so let's find that first. So let's find out what 15% of 80 is first here. This is just going to solve like our proportion problems that we've been working on. Just going to go ahead and cross multiply. Gives me 100x equals 80 times 15 gives me 1200. I divide each side by 100. X is going to give me 12. So that is what 15% is. 15% of 80 is 12, okay? Now I know that's being increased. So whenever I hear the word increase, I know that I'm adding, okay? So I'm gonna do my 80, my original amount, it's increased by 15%. 15% is 12. 80 plus 12 is gonna give me a total of 92. So when 80 is increased by 15%, it's 92. We go down to example number 2 down here. We're going to find the percent of increase or decrease again for example number 2. We're going to find the result when 240 is decreased by 40%. Now I don't know what 40% of 240 is, so let's start by finding that first. I do my 40 over my 100. I'm going to try to find what 40% of 240 is. Cross multiply, solve our proportion just like we have. 240 times it by 40, it's gonna be 9,600. I divide each side by 100. X is gonna give me 96. I now know that 40% of 240 is 96. I'm not done because I need to find the result, okay? So I'm gonna set this up as my original. If it's decreasing, I know it's subtraction. I know it's subtraction. And I'm gonna do it by its 40%. Its 40% is 96. So I'm taking away 40% of 240. 240, take away 96 gives me 144. Again, this is my result here. If you guys have any more questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you guys are talking to me on the Google Meet. You have 7 questions for your practice today. Should go pretty quickly and pretty straightforward as well. These are going to be like the ones on the first page, and then these are going to be like the ones on the back page. If you guys have questions, comments, or concerns, it's outside of class hours, make sure you send me an email. Thanks, guys.